Friends, beloved souls gathered here in hope and dream, hear the whisper of your own heart. Life may have laid heavy burdens upon you. Disappointments clipped your wings and sorrow shadowed your door. Yet even in the darkest night, a new dawn stirs a promise, shapes itself upon the horizon. Today I speak to you of the gentle stirrings and the sacred signals that God in infinite love is poised to pour out blessings upon your life. When the world grows loud with worry and each newscast, each whispered rumor, each uncertain moment wraps itself around your thoughts like a thick fog, there is a hush, a still sacred hush that descends deep within the soul. This hush is not born of ignorance, nor is it denial. No, child, it is the voice of God speaking peace to the very marrow of your being. It is the reassurance that despite what you see, what you hear, what you fear, something holy is unfolding just beyond the veil. Now let me tell you, I have known chaos. I have danced with despair. I have heard the clanging of life's cruel bells and felt the trembling of my own spirit under the weight of it all. But there is a moment, a divine moment, when God's grace kisses the weary heart and quiets the noise of the world. It comes like the hush before a soft rain, the pause before a mighty breakthrough. You feel it not on your skin, but beneath it. It wells up not in your hands, but in your chest like a secret the soul has known since birth. It is peace, baby. The kind of peace that doesn't make sense to the rational mind. The kind that doesn't rely on the bank balance being right, the diagnosis being clear, or the relationship being whole. No, this peace has no need for evidence. It does not need proof. It simply is. It simply rests inside you like a sleeping child in the arms of her mother. Safe, warm, unafraid. You might be walking through the fire and still your soul whispers, "I shall not be burned." You might be facing the storm, but in your belly you hear it clear as Sunday morning. Peace, be still. Now that, my dear, is a sign. That is a signal. When your spirit begins to experience peace that your circumstances do not justify, that is God's Spirit taking residence inside your doubt, inside your storm, inside your story. That is the Almighty preparing you for blessing. Because God does not move in chaos. He moves through it. He takes the broken pieces and arranges them just so. But before He places the miracle in your hands, He places assurance in your heart. And that is the order of divine things. First the whisper, then the wonder. First the peace, then the provision. First the stillness, then the shower. You may wonder why this peace shows up so quietly, so humbly. Why doesn't God send lightning or trumpet blasts? Why doesn't the sky open and tell you everything is going to be all right in bold letters? Oh, but you must understand, God doesn't need spectacle to show you His love. He works in the intimate places, the hushed corners of your being, where no one else hears but Him. It is in that quiet that He says, "You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. Something beautiful is coming." And I know, child, I know it is tempting to question that peace. When trouble is knocking and the ground is shaking, you may wonder, why am I not falling apart? But instead of questioning it, wrap yourself in it. Embrace that peace like a warm coat on a cold day. Let it anchor you. Let it teach you that God's promises are not tied to conditions. They are tied to His character. Peace, when all should be panic, is a declaration from heaven. It is the soul's testimony that God has already stepped into your tomorrow. It is a sign that your waiting is not wasted. It is confirmation that angels have already been dispatched. Doors already unlocked, blessings already en route. You may not see it with your eyes, but if your heart is quiet, you will feel it with your spirit. There is something sacred about a person who has peace before the breakthrough. Something noble about the one who smiles when the report is bad, who sings when the answer is not yet. That kind of peace is not naive. It is power. It is faith dressed in serenity. It is the child of trust and the cousin of joy. So if today you find yourself strangely calm, unexpectedly comforted, if you sense a hush resting over your chaos, do not doubt it. Do not explain it away. Don't you dare dismiss it as coincidence or wishful thinking. That peace is God knocking on the door of your spirit saying, "Get ready, daughter. Prepare yourself, son. I am about to do something new." You see, peace isn't the reward. It's the evidence. It is the calling card of the blessing on its way. It is the aroma that floats in the kitchen before the meal is served. So when that peace comes, light your candle and set your table, because your blessing is coming. It is near. It is inevitable. Walk gently with your peace. Hold it close, and let it be the song your soul sings until the blessing arrives. There comes a time, beloved, when you stop chasing and things begin to chase you. Opportunities you didn't pray for begin to find you. Blessings you never thought to ask for arrive on your doorstep like an old friend with smile and a suitcase. It is not by accident. It is not luck. It is the quiet, deliberate movement of God unfolding behind the curtain of your life. You see, we spend so much of our time knocking on doors with trembling hands and tired hearts, asking the world to let us in. Let me be loved. Let me be chosen. Let me be seen. And sometimes, yes, sometimes the doors remain closed and the silence behind them is so loud it makes your bones age. But don't despair, because there are moments, holy moments, when God decides that He will open the door Himself. And not only that, He will open doors you didn't even know were there. That's the kind of blessing I'm talking about. The kind that doesn't come through striving, but through surrender. The kind that finds you when you've run out of maps. When you're standing at the edge of yourself, unsure of what to do next. It is then, child, when your knees are on the floor and your heart is in your throat, that God says, "Now I will show you favor." Imagine you've been walking down a long hallway, door after door locked tight. You try the handle, nothing. You knock, no answer. You wait, still nothing. And just as you begin to wonder if the hallway will ever end, a door to your left, one you never noticed before, cracks open. You didn't knock. You didn't even know to knock, but it opens. And inside is more than you ever dreamed. A space prepared, a table set, a chair with your name carved into the wood. That, my dear, is the work of divine favor. Sometimes the blessings that are meant for you come dressed in mystery. They don't wear flashing lights or parade down the street announcing their arrival. No, they slip in through the back door, settle quietly at your table, and wait for you to notice. The phone rings, the email comes, a friend mentions your name in a room full of opportunity. Suddenly the door is open. That's not random. That's not coincidence. That is the Spirit of God working behind the scenes, aligning hearts, arranging circumstances, shifting mountains, so that your blessing can find you without delay. And oh, the beauty of it all. When God opens a door, no man can shut it. Not jealousy, not envy, not even your own doubt. That door swings wide and says, "Come in, child. This is yours." You may walk in with trembling steps, unsure if you belong. But rest assured, if God opened the door, you have every right to walk through it with your head held high and your spirit lifted. Now, I don't want you to miss the signs. Sometimes God opens a door in the form of a conversation, a kind word, an unexpected introduction, a meeting that seems casual but changes everything. Pay attention to those moments. The divine often wears ordinary clothes. Don't dismiss the door just because it doesn't look like what you imagine. Sometimes your blessing doesn't come dressed in gold. It comes in overalls with work to do. Be ready. And let me remind you, not every open door is for escape. Some doors are for elevation. Some doors are not to run away from your past, but to step into your purpose. God is not just delivering you from something. He's delivering you to some place, a higher call, a deeper truth. But you must be courageous. When God opens the door, you must walk through it. You must resist the voice that says you're not ready, not worthy, not enough. Because the truth is, God does not wait for perfection. He blesses the willing. He blesses the brave. He blesses the one who stands up even with shaking knees and says, "Here I am, Lord, I will go. I have seen it with my own eyes." A woman who thought all the good things had passed her by received a phone call that changed her life. A man who had been laid off for months got a job he never applied for, one that fit him like a tailored suit. A mother struggling to feed her children found groceries on her porch and a note that said simply, "God sees you." These are not fairy tales, child. These are the fingerprints of a faithful God who sees beyond your struggle and prepares blessings tailor-made for your journey. So if you find that doors are beginning to open, doors you didn't knock on, rooms you never entered, blessings you never thought to request, don't be surprised. Rejoice. It is a sign that God has remembered you. It is a sign that His favor has gone ahead of you. And it is a sign that the blessing meant for you has finally come home. Walk through that door, not with fear, but with faith. Not with apology, but with authority. Because when God opens a door, it is not just an invitation. It is a declaration. It says, this is your time, this is your place, this is your blessing, and no one can take it from you. Sometimes God will bless you not by adding to your life, but by subtracting from it. Yes, child, that too is a blessing. The removal, the pruning, the letting go. We often think that gain is the only sign of favor, but you must learn to discern the holy goodness in God's knowing the sacred gift in His removal. You see, when God begins to move, some people will leave. Some friends will grow silent. Some relationships will dry up like rivers in a drought. And at first you will grieve. You will question, Lord, why are they walking away? But in time, with the wisdom that only comes from hindsight and tears, you will see. Some people were only meant to travel with you for a season. And when their season ends, it is mercy, not malice, that sends them away. The pain of departure is real. Don't let anybody tell you to pretend it doesn't hurt. You may sit in the stillness of a room they used to fill and feel the ache of emptiness. That's all right. Feel it. Feel it deeply, but then lift your chin and open your eyes. For sometimes, child, their leaving makes space for God's arrival. You don't even know what's trying to come into your life until what no longer serves you walks out. There are people who can't go where God is taking you. Not because they are bad, not because they are unworthy, but because the calling on your life requires a different kind of companionship. Some folks are only familiar with who you used to be. They can't comprehend the glory resting on your future. And so with a gentle nudge or a divine shift, God removes them. Not to hurt you, but to make room. Imagine carrying a suitcase full of bricks up a mountain. You could do it. Yes. But oh, how much lighter the journey becomes when you put the burden down. That is what God does when He removes certain people. It's not punishment, it's preparation. It's not rejection, it's redirection. God knows where you're going, and He knows who can't handle the altitude. And don't be surprised if the exit is sudden. When God is ready to bless you, He doesn't always give warnings. The phone stops ringing, the door doesn't knock, the conversation dries up. Let it. Don't go chasing what God is trying to release. Don't resurrect what God has allowed to die. Trust the silence. Trust the space. Trust that in this divine distancing, your destiny is being protected. You see, beloved, some folks were only assigned to your struggle, not your success. They could walk with you when you were broken, when you were in need, when your light was dim. But now that God is preparing to elevate you, they feel uncomfortable around your healing. They don't know what to do with your glow. And that's all right. Bless them, love them, but do not tether yourself to those who can't celebrate your rising. Let me tell you a story. There was once a woman full of dreams, but surrounded by doubt. Every time she spoke her vision, someone close would cut it down. That's too much, they'd say. Be realistic. But her soul knew better. Her spirit was aligned with something higher. And when God began to shift her life, those same voices grew quiet. Some slipped away, some turned bitter. She cried over those losses until she realized they were necessary. With their departure came clarity, came peace, came new people who believed in her light. That was no coincidence. That was God. Sometimes your blessing is too big for the crowd you're in. Sometimes God has to shrink your circle before he can expand your territory. And sometimes the folks you miss the most are the very ones who prayed against your progress. Oh yes, child. Every smile is not sincere, and every hand that claps is not clapping for you. But do not let that make you bitter. Let it make you wise. Let it sharpen your discernment and deepen your gratitude. Because when God removes someone, he replaces them with someone greater. Someone who understands your calling. Someone who waters your dreams instead of drowning them. Someone who sees the oil on your head and the fire in your spirit and doesn't flinch. That, my dear, is what's waiting on the other side of goodbye. So don't hold on to what God is taking away. Don't mourn the exit longer than necessary. Wipe your tears, lift your hands, and say, thank you, Lord, for divine subtraction. Because that empty chair, that quiet phone, that unreturned message, it may very well be the space your blessing needs to land. You are not being abandoned, you are being aligned. You are not being rejected, you are being redirected. And that, dear heart, is one of the clearest signs that God is about to bless you. When the room empties, when the chatter quiets, when the crowd thins out, that's when the King of Glory steps in and fills the space with purpose, with power, with peace. So walk forward unburdened, walk forward lighter. Walk forward knowing that every exit was an entrance to something greater. The stage is being cleared. Your blessing is on its way. And all that left, it had to. Because what's coming won't fit in a crowded room. There comes a moment, beloved, when everything in your soul begins to tremble. Not from fear, but from the overwhelming awareness that something sacred is about to happen. It's as if heaven is leaning down, whispering secrets to your spirit. And suddenly your dreams are no longer just dreams. They are promises waiting to be born. You feel it in your bones. A stirring, a quickening, like the winds have shifted in your favor, though no one else sees the change. You walk into a room and nothing's different, yet everything is. The light hits your face just so, and it feels like God himself is shining a spotlight on your path. That, my dear, is the spiritual shift, the unseen confirmation, a silent trumpet that sounds only in the chambers of your heart. Before the blessing manifests in your hands, it visits your soul. God always speaks to the spirit first. He sends a breeze through the garden of your being to let you know rain is coming. And if you're quiet, if you're still, you'll feel it. The old anxiety doesn't fit anymore. The old fear loses its grip. You start waking up not with dread, but with expectancy. Your mind no longer wrestles with defeat. It begins to dance with faith. And let me tell you something. It is not madness. It is not your imagination. It is not coincidence. It is the language of the divine. It is how the Creator whispers, get ready, child, I'm on my way. The world may look the same. Your bills may still be due. Your health may still be fragile. But inside, oh inside, a shift has occurred. You are not who you were. You can't explain it, but you know it. The page is turning. You'll notice too that the things that used to distract you don't hold the same power. Gossip starts to sound like noise. Petty arguments begin to feel like a waste of your breath. You begin to preserve your energy because something in you knows you will need it soon. Your focus sharpens. Your tolerance for nonsense shrinks. Why? Because your spirit has received the memo. Before your flesh could read it, God is about to bless you. Your taste changes. What once satisfied you no longer fills your cup. You crave truth. You seek solitude. You hunger for purpose. That's a shift. That's God preparing your soil for harvest. The blessing you prayed for is growing in secret, and your soul is aligning with its arrival. And child, don't be surprised when strange things begin to happen. Doors you wanted to walk through suddenly close. That job you thought you needed doesn't call back. That opportunity falls through. You think it's rejection, but it's really resurrection. When the spiritual shift occurs, God begins to rearrange everything around you so that His plan, not yours, will prevail. Trust that even when it hurts, even when it makes no sense, sometimes your spirit will feel a change before your eyes can confirm it. That's called faith. That's called walking by the divine rhythm of heaven instead of the sight of men. You won't always have evidence, but you will have peace. And peace is a powerful thing, child. Peace is the quiet voice of God telling you, you are on the right path. When your blessing is near, your rest becomes deeper. You may not even know why you feel so calm in the storm. That's because your spirit knows the storm isn't there to destroy you. It's clearing the way. You begin to see delay not as denial, but as divine protection. You begin to see obstacles as opportunities for God to show Himself mighty. And that, my dear, is the mark of someone who has been shifted by the Spirit. You'll find yourself speaking differently too. The words you used to say, words of defeat, of bitterness, of complaint, they don't come so easily anymore. Your tongue becomes an instrument of declaration. You start saying things like, I don't know how, but I know God will, and it's already done in the Spirit, and this too shall pass. That's not just positive thinking. That is a transformed mind. That is evidence that heaven has touched your thoughts. When you are about to be blessed, you begin to operate from a place of assurance, not desperation. You're no longer begging God. You're thanking Him in advance. You don't chase the blessing. You prepare for it. You make room for it in your life, in your heart, in your home. That is what faith does. That is what the spiritual shift demands. And child, let me tell you, when that shift happens, do not downplay it. Do not ignore it. Do not brush it off as wishful thinking. Stand in it. Lean into it. Let it carry you, because it is a holy signal, a divine ripple, a gentle nudge that the God of the universe is up to something concerning you. He has heard your cry, He has seen your struggle, and He is moving even now behind the curtain of the visible. You may not see the blessing yet, but it's already on the way. It's already packaged in glory, signed with grace, and stamped with favor. All that's left is the delivery. And in the meantime, your soul knows it's coming. It's coming soon. So lift your head, straighten your back, smile, even if you don't know why, because your spirit does. It recognizes the change, and it knows what you've been too weary to believe. God is about to bless you. And the change in your soul is the proof. There comes a point in your journey, dear heart, when you look around and realize you are no longer surrounded by the same voices, the same faces, the same familiar company that once held you close. And it is not because you are unloving. No, not that. You've loved deeply. You've given freely. You've extended grace even when it cost you your peace. But there is a sacred solitude that wraps itself around a soul that God is about to elevate. And in that solitude, people begin to fall away. Not out of cruelty, but by divine necessity. Let me tell you something tender and true. When God is about to bless you, He prunes your life like a wise gardener. Not everything that grew with you can go with you. Not everyone who clapped for you in the last season is meant to witness your next. The change in your circle isn't always betrayal. Sometimes it's just God cleaning the stage so the spotlight can fall rightly on His work in your life. It's a lonely thing at first, yes it is. There are nights when your phone does not ring, days when your inbox stays empty, and moments when you wonder, have I done something wrong? But oh child, you've done something right. You've grown. And growth will always cost you something. Sometimes that something is companionship. Sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes it's approval. But it is never a loss when it leads to peace. The people who walk away, they don't always slam doors. Some drift, some fade. Some show you who they are through silence louder than words. But don't mourn too long. Don't cling to ghosts. God is doing holy housekeeping. He is making room not just for the blessing, but for the clarity, the safety, the purity that blessing requires. Because you see, not everyone can handle your blessing. Some hearts grow jealous when the favor of God shines too brightly. Some lips grow bitter when your name is spoken with kindness. And some hands only clap when you are small enough to manage. But the moment God starts to stretch you, to lift you, to mold you for more, they can't recognize you anymore. And that is by divine design. God removes so you can receive. And it's not only about who leads. Sometimes God quiets the noise so you can hear his voice. Sometimes he silences the crowd so your faith can rise without interference. He teaches you to lean on him, not them. He reminds you that your anointing did not come from popularity, but from obedience. And there in that quiet space, you learn the sound of heaven's whisper. You discover your strength. You'll find out you are never truly alone. You'll find that as people fall away, discernment rises. You begin to see more clearly. You begin to notice who is draining your joy, who is planting seeds of doubt, who is cheering your confusion, but not your clarity. And though it hurts, it also heals. You are no longer accessible to cows. You are no longer available to people who only knew how to take. Don't be afraid of this cleansing. It is sacred. It is the sign of something greater. Even Jesus, when he was preparing for his greatest moment, went up to the mountain with only a select few. He taught the crowd, but he walked with the chosen. And when he prayed in the garden, even the closest fell asleep. Because your deepest moments with God are not always meant to be witnessed. They are private rehearsals for public miracles. Let the people go, child. Let the ones who cannot honor your journey find their own. You are not being punished. You are being protected. God is filtering your circle, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. To make sure that when the blessing comes, the environment is healthy enough to nurture it. And make no mistake, when God brings new people, you will know. They won't compete with your light. They'll reflect it. They won't use your vulnerability. They'll cover it in prayer. They won't diminish your growth. They'll celebrate it, water it, and grow beside you. That, beloved, is what divine connection feels like. And you wouldn't recognize it if you hadn't first been alone. So dry your tears, lift your head. This solitude isn't a sentence, it's a sanctuary. It is the space between who you were and who you are becoming. It is where God carves out the blessing in you before placing it on you. And though you may walk it alone for a while, you walk with heaven's company, you walk with purpose, you walk with favor wrapped around your shoulders like a shell stitched by angels. The falling away of people is not the end. It's the beginning. It is God saying, I love you too much to let you carry extra weight into your next chapter. It is a divine mercy disguised as heartbreak. And one day you'll look back on this quiet season and say, thank you, Lord, for every empty seat you allowed so I could finally sit with you. Trust the pruning. Trust the silence. Trust the space that once held people who no longer belong. God is not just removing. He is preparing. And when the blessing comes, it will come unburdened, undeniable, and overflowing. You'll smile then, not because the circle is full, but because your soul is. There is a hush that settles over a person's life just before the winds of change start to howl. It is not the kind of silence that frightens or the stillness that unnerves. No, child, this is a peace that passes all understanding. A calm so deep it sits in your bones like an old truth returning home. It does not announce itself loudly. It does not clamor for your attention. It simply arrives like dew resting gently on morning grass. And when it comes, you know something is shifting. God is near. You see, before God blesses you, He will often steel you, not as punishment, but as preparation. Because when you are running to and fro, caught up in noise, in chaos, in the endless tugging of this world, you cannot hear the whisper of heaven. And blessings, the real ones, they do not scream. They arrive softly like a lullaby sung by the Almighty Himself. This peace, this holy calm, is not the absence of trouble. Lord knows life will still swirl around you like a storm determined to find your foundation. But somehow you remain unmoved. You begin to smile, not because everything is right, but because something inside you knows everything will be. You stop fighting battles that don't belong to you. You stop explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding. You let go, not because you're giving up, but because you're growing up. And in that surrender, in that holy hush, peace comes. Peace is not a passive thing. It is power cloaked in gentleness. It is God's hand resting on your shoulder, saying, I've got you. And once you've known that kind of peace, you can no longer be baited by every offense, every shadow of fear, every echo of your past. You become still like a mountain, grounded, immovable, and tall enough to see what's coming over the horizon. There will be a moment in your journey when the world around you is loud, but your soul is quiet. That is when you know your blessing is close. For peace is not the prize at the end. It is the passageway. It is the proof that God has already gone before you and settled things in places your feet have not yet walked. Do not be alarmed when you stop reacting the way you used to. Do not be afraid when your appetite for drama and noise disappears. Do not be discouraged when the things that once excited you now feel hollow. That's not apathy. That's alignment. That's your spirit being tuned to a higher frequency. That's the Holy Spirit making room for the divine. And when people around you don't understand the new you, when they call you distant, quiet, detached, smile gently. Don't try to explain peace to those who are still committed to chaos. Just let your calm be your testimony. Let your grace be your answer. Let your quiet be the evidence that God is doing something too big, too sacred to be broadcast. You are no longer easily rattled. You are no longer tossed to and fro by every wave of emotion. And that is a sign, beloved, a sign that God is preparing your table, that He is anointing your head with oil, that your cup is about to overflow. Because before the feast, there is always the fasting. Before the open door, there is the quiet hallway. Before the blessing, there is peace. This peace is not man-made. You cannot buy it. You cannot fake it. You cannot force it. It is a fruit of the Spirit, and it grows best in surrendered soil. The kind of soil that says, Lord, I trust you even when I don't see the path. The kind of soil that stays faithful when the forecast looks uncertain. That's when God plants peace. And from that peace grows strength, wisdom, and unshakable joy. Don't be surprised if you begin to laugh more. Not loud laughter to cover pain, but the soft kind that bubbles up from a healed place. Don't be surprised if you wake up with songs in your spirit. Don't be surprised if you begin to forgive people you never thought you could. That's what peace does. It clears the debris so the light can come through. The world may not understand it. They may try to measure your peace by your possessions. They may say, how can you be so calm when everything is uncertain? But you'll know. You'll know your peace isn't rooted in circumstances, it's rooted in Christ. And when your roots run deep into Him, no storm can shake you. That peace, sweet soul, is your confirmation. It is heaven's nod. It is the lull before the miracle. It is God saying, be still and know that I am God. It is His quiet confidence settling in your chest, preparing you for the blessing you've been waiting for. So do not fear the silence. Do not rush the stillness. Sit with it in. Let it soak into your spirit like warm sunlight on winter skin. For it is in that peace that your blessing will find you. Not because you chased it, but because you are ready to receive it. When you feel that calm settle over your life, do not question it, embrace it, wrap it around your shoulders like a shawl woven by grace. That is not stillness. It is sacred preparation. God is not done with you. He's just begun. And when the blessing comes, child, you will be ready. Not surprised, not frantic, not grasping, but ready. Ready because peace prepared you. Ready because stillness taught you. Ready because you trusted when there was no reason to, and loved when there was no applause. That's the sign, that's the blessing's breath before it enters the room. Peace, beloved, is your prophetic fruit. Oh, dear heart, when God is about to pour His favor over your life, you will not be able to remain in old places with old habits and old companions who cannot recognize the glory that's beginning to shine through you. It's not a punishment, it is a promotion. It's not a rejection, it is redirection. And though it may feel like loss, it is the gentle pulling away of everything that cannot walk with you into your blessing. You see, before God gives you something new, He often strips away what no longer serves you, not out of cruelty, but out of care. Because the higher He plans to take you, the lighter He needs you to be. And baby burdens are heavy, dead weight is heavy. And God, in all His mercy, begins to remove the unnecessary people, places, mindsets, even memories that would sabotage the beauty of what's coming next. At first, it hurts. You may not understand why the phone stops ringing, why invitations dry up, why that circle of friends starts to feel more like a square with missing corners. But listen closely. That is not abandonment, it is alignment. Heaven is editing your life. When God is about to bless you, He will pull you away from the counterfeit to make space for the authentic. And often it is the people closest to us that we cling to the tightest, even when their season in our lives has expired. It takes courage, yes, a deep and trembling courage, to release what you once called home. But child, what is ahead of you is greater than what is behind. The pruning may feel personal, but it is purposeful. God is not just preparing the blessing for you. He is preparing you for the blessing. And preparation sometimes looks like separation. Not because you are better, but because you are becoming. In the quiet moments when loneliness tries to convince you that you've been forgotten, hold fast to this truth. Solitude is sacred space. It is not a sign that you are alone. It is a sign that God is near. Because when distractions are removed, divine direction becomes clearer, and God whispers best in still places. Let me tell you something, sugar. Not everyone can go where God is taking you. Some folk are only assigned to a chapter, not the whole story. And that's all right. Let them go with grace. Wish them well without bitterness. Forgive their absence without resentment. Some were sent to teach you how to love and others how to let go. But all of them, whether joy or pain, were part of your becoming. Now don't you go trying to drag everyone into your blessing. Don't you go inviting people back who were removed for a reason. When God does a new thing, He surrounds it with new energy, fresh wind. People who speak life into your vision, not drain the breath from your dreams. People who clap even when the light is not on them. That's what divine alignment brings. And oh, when God aligns your life with purpose, He doesn't just clean house. He builds a new foundation. You'll notice how you no longer tolerate what you once accepted, how your spirit becomes sensitive to toxicity, how your peace becomes too expensive to trade for petty arguments and shallow validation. That's not pride, that's growth. It might look like you're losing everything, but beloved, you are being set apart for something holy, something heavy with glory, something soaked in grace. And being set apart often means walking alone for a while. But don't fear the wilderness. That's where manna falls. That's where water flows from rocks. That's where God speaks face to face. Remember, before David wore the crown, he was forgotten in a field. Before Esther entered the palace, she was hidden in preparation. Before Jesus began his ministry, he was led into the wilderness. Separation always precedes elevation. So if your circle feels smaller, if your schedule grows quieter, if your path seems lonelier, rejoice. Yes, I said rejoice, because heaven is orchestrating your upgrade. God is clearing the room so the blessing can have space to breathe. Don't resist the shifting. Don't resent the silence. Lean into the new rhythm. Learn to love your own company. Fill your spirit with truth, with beauty, with purpose. And when the right people show up, those God-sent allies, dream carriers, prayer warriors, you'll recognize them not by their charm, but by their consistency, by their light. And one day you'll look back on this season, the shedding, the stretching, the solitude, and you'll weep, not from pain, but from gratitude. You'll see how God's hand was in every closed door, every unanswered text, every goodbye, because it brought you here to a place where your soul could expand, where your gifts could breathe, where your blessing could finally find a place to land. So walk on, beloved. Walk on in peace. Walk on in power. Walk on in the knowledge that every subtraction was divine arithmetic, making room for addition. You are not losing. You are leveling up. You are being repositioned by the hand of a mighty God. And when the blessing comes, it will not find you bitter or broken. It will find you better, bolder, and ready. Allow the change to occur, because what God is about to do next needs you to be